Good morning, evening, or afternoon, everybody. Today we are going to be covering a really interesting topic that XARYU actually posted on his stream and his channel and everything. He conducted a survey with his community about all of the possible features that Classic Plus could have, should have, why they should have it, and just a little brief breakdown, and he posted the results of that survey. So I wanted to go down through each and every one of them, talk about it more, because I think it's really important to get the community talking about it regardless of how big or small your voice may be. I think it is so important to get it out there and talk about topic subjects and see, what people think, because if Classic Plus is just an idea, and to make it the best idea possible, I think the community's opinion is really important for this. So without further ado, I'm going to switch it over and we're going to dive right into it. I'll see you then. Voop. So here is the full survey picture here, and we're just going to go left to right at the top, all the way down. So the first one is dual talents. So dual talent specialization was added in Season of Discovery, and it was so popular and people loved it so much that they then added it in Anniversary. And as you can see, it is very well loved. It is not classic for sure, but it does allow for players to play their class in all aspects. It gets really tedious. I did Classic 2019. I tried to PvP and just always swap in between PvP and PvE spec. I honestly just volunteered to be the winter chill mage because paying 50 gold to PvP, then 50 gold to do that. I just gave up in MC when I was ranking MCB. I was just like, I'll be the winter chill mage, so I can just use one spec for it all. That was my take on it. And I think it's definitely a really good thing, and one of the few things that they should put in. Maybe even consider making it 1,000 gold like the TBC one. Not so it's like important, but you have to earn it. I think it's very important to keep that grind, that classic, that you went there, you did this for XYZ amount of hours, you earned it. Those are some of the best feelings I have. Every time I hit 40 in Classic Fresh, I feel awesome that I can afford my mount and go and get it. Then we have more than 2 professions. I don't like that. It would be like it'd make the game a whole lot easier, but I think the permanence and having permanent choices would be really awesome. So as you can see, 19% approval rating, so people do not like that. The only thing that I could see is just letting everyone gather that a lot of MMOs have taken on. But I think WoW is like that's just such an iconic thing. I literally level a druid with urban mine just to urban mine every game, so I think it's super important to keep that there. World buff changes. So I think world buffs are a really interesting thing, because if we're getting new content, they're gonna have to be balanced around world buffs, and I honestly kind of like the Chinese approach of they just had a world buff giver at the raid, and you just got full world buffs, like the PTR, like invitation or items you got, just gives everyone full world buffs. SOD took this a step further and just gave us world buff consumables, so it was like a raid effort, so people went and got the raid. I really like that, because then it made it more of a guild, it made it more of a community effort. I organized people donating supplies to get world buffs and fund them, and sort of made it a guild community thing. And I think that was a really awesome thing for them to have. Definitely the final version of it, where they were pretty cheap and you could go and get them in the city instead of having to go on a world buff world tour, as you will. That was hellish. Took me like an hour, even on a druid or mage, to go around and get them all, and then like you only had a few sets. Then you also have the option of remove world buffs from the raids. That is that we tried that in SOM and people did not like it, so I'd imagine that they should probably keep them there. I like world buffs being in the game because they are something to go out and do. It is world content, but having the SOD solution there, I really enjoyed that a lot personally, so I think that is a better solution than just straight up removing them. And rework over removal, I don't know if this is generalized, but I generally like them being absolute. I would prefer them to like remove it and add something new instead of just slightly change it. If you slightly change it, it's nothing that crazy. Flying mounts, absolutely not. Classic should not have flying in any shape or form. Then we have transmog. So I don't personally care about transmog. Tier 3 isn't exciting to me. Warlord isn't exciting to me anymore. There's nothing, like, I don't get that super excitement from seeing someone in that gear and going crazy. So I get why people don't like it, but if we have to monetize the game, I'd prefer a global collection log and just have it there. I know that might be unpopular, but I don't really mind transmog. I'm kind of neutral on it. Then we have rated battlegrounds, arenas, PvP. I don't think those should be in there. I think people look at Classic and fighting in the world, going out there doing those things. If you have PvP with rated and arena, it just becomes sit in Stormwind and go out there and do these rated PvPs. We see it in MOP. We see it, honestly, once TBC starts, people are just queuing arenas. It kind of kills the world vibe, kills how special just normal BGing is. Getting a group of friends together and just going out there PvPing for some stuff. It was quantity of PvP, not quality of PvP, that Classic really focused on, and I think they nailed it. I think it's one of the coolest systems, and it's such a with the original honor system, it is such a freaking grind. So I don't really like. I don't think Classic is the place for those. I mean, we saw it with Classic here. Like, it just becomes arena and rated battlegrounds for the PvP. People don't really do anything else or try in the other ones. So seeing people sweat in like 40-man AVs to do weird stuff and fight to the death is pretty cool. However, we've also optimized the fun out of that, and it's just AFK simulator, get rank 14 gear, and go next. So I honestly kind of like the OG honor system instead of the no decay type thing. Optimized flight paths, abso-freaking-lutely. Please give us the TVC optimizations. You guys will see it very soon. It is such a game changer. Instead of having, like, if you don't, like, some people legitimately don't take the Orgrimmar flight path on Horde because, like, so many things fly you through that, or Crossroads. You can skip one or the other of them, but so many of them just always fly you there. Like, if you go to Ratchet from Crossroads, instead of going directly there, you have to fly to Org and then fly back down. That's probably the most egregious example, but there are so many of them that are just terribly inefficient, and they have you go so many which ways, so please give us those. Additional flight paths. I think additional flight paths are fine if we have additional areas, of course. If we just sort of have what we have, there are a few that could be added, but at the end of the day, it is fine. Summoning stones, so I'm going to combine these two, summoning stones and warlock closets. I personally would like summoning stones if we get rid of warlock closets. I think we have once again optimized the fun out of it. Everybody just buys a summon everywhere. You get bots sitting there doing that. I think that it's just bad for the game. What makes Classic special, in my opinion, is the grind, is taking that long journey, is feeling fulfilled when you're going throughout the world and going and getting things. And it just kind of, like, I would prefer if we take away warlock closets, we get summoning stones. But I would prefer it that way, opposed to just adding summoning stones and having warlock closets. But yeah, I think warlock, how we do summons, it's kind of crazy in my opinion, and I think it should be definitely considered to stop it, because it's kind of egregious at this point. No one like travels anywhere, goes anywhere. They just pay someone to summon them everywhere. Then we have longer buffs, and lower mana cost. Absolutely. That was amazing and saw it. I love that. It's just a small quality of life change. It doesn't hurt anyone, and it allows people to, like, having to rebuff the raid and then everyone has to mana up just takes so freaking long, and it's just really, really obnoxious. Guild Bank, absolutely for the Guild Bank here. The Guild Bank is huge, so the guild leader, guild whatever, doesn't have to sit there and manage it on an alt, and then everyone can sort of pool resources, and it is just an absolutely awesome thing. Then we have the achievement system. I don't see a harm in this. If, like, we add things like achievements, we add things like transmog, we add things like collection tab, and it's bind down account, I don't see a problem with that. But if that all, like, I either want all of it or I want none of it. I'm kind of all or nothing on that side, and mainly because the reason I want this is because it allows everyone to play the game. It allows everyone to enjoy World of Warcraft, and like, you might get retail players playing Classic to collect something. You might get other people playing retail to collect something. You might be getting people to play all versions of WoW, and I think WoW is at its best when the most people are playing it, regardless of your reason and motivation for that. Dungeon Finder, absolutely not. One of the most iconic things of Classic is running there, going to the dungeon, making a group, finding people. Sometimes, yeah, it sucks having to wait 10, 20 minutes for someone to traverse the world to get there. But, maybe they'll add summoning stones for dungeons so you can summon people into that and get them there. Minor class changes and balancing. Absolutely, I like that a lot. I think the hybrid classes, paladins, druids, shamans, they all need distinct specs. Shadow priests, pretty much everyone that has a DPS and a healer spec is pretty much forced to be a healer right now, and we only take essentially warriors for DPS in Anniversary at the moment. So I definitely think switching it up and changing it worked really well in SOD. They did achieve balance, but at the cost of PvP. We definitely need to revisit PvP and make sure we don't have that egregious of changes to where it completely makes PvP unplayable. Then we have better quest rewards. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Having things be like Oni attunement is a really good one that gives some really nice pieces of gear. Killing a Rend Blackhand gives a really nice trinket. There are just some really good trinkets and rings and jewelry that is out in the world from doing elite or epic quest lines, and I think WoW having more of those is really awesome. I look to SOD yet again for like the BRD class weapons. I don't think every class needs one, but having a few more of those, because they're really cool for Hunter, they're really cool for Priest. I genuinely loved the Paladin quest line and everything you did with that, so that was a really cool one as well. So like, as long as there's an epic narrative behind it and something people can go and get, I think they have a place, especially in Classic WoW. New raids, I think that is an absolute no-brainer. We saw everyone loved Karazhan Crypts. Everybody loved Scarlet Enclave. There was legitimate joy from a lot of people playing those, and so many people came back for the final phase of SOD because of those, and I think it is just absolutely amazing with that, and I am all for that in every way. There are so many choices you could choose from, even if you're just doing like Grim Batol, Emerald Gene, of fighting in Hyjal. There are just so many story-driven ones that work so well in Classic that kind of like died off, and they didn't really touch them till Kato or even like Legion for some of the storylines. Updates on old raids. So I would like to see sort of like almost challenge mode dungeons for mobs, something like that, where it's incentivized, like it's a hard challenge and your reward is more gear, or if there is transmog cooler looking gear, something purely cosmetic. I don't want player power tied to updates on old raids, but like I wanted like the hard mode toggles for SOD. Once again, love that. I think that was a great example. I also love the SOD rating flex thing as well, but I think doing it and rewarding people with more gear instead of cosmetic, or instead of like more gear instead of more power, is definitely a much more enjoyable way to go about it, opposed to having it be too hard. Because right now, I mean, I brought my SOD Saviors to MOP, and we're struggling to clear heroic raids with the team we have, because we just have a bunch of classic raiders who haven't raided at that high of a level in a very long time. So we're grinding through it. We should hit cutting edge before we're done. We have just Shaw and Imp to kill, but I think that would be a better system. Poll-based system added to vote. So I kind of like that. OSRS is the shining example of it, and they require like a super majority. I think it's 60 or 70% yes for a change to be implemented. I don't think every change needs this, but I think major, massive changes would benefit from this. How to do it, though, I think you shouldn't just have a sub for something like that. I think you should have to have like X amount of playtime, logged kills on something. Like the players actually playing the game should get to vote on it, instead of just people who have an active subscription, because there are a ton of people who have an active subscription, and a lot of people would pay money just to get their opinion voice there. So as long as we find a good way to authenticate people's votes and allow people to vote really well, I think it would be good. Then we have new classes. Yeah, I don't really like new classes. I think we have the standard classes. The only new classes I could see would be something like allowing Paladin and Shaman on the other side, but I'd only want that if there are massive changes, like Shamans becoming tanks, Paladins becoming viable tanks in DPS, stuff like that. That brings us to the next one, which is new races. So with new races, we have quite a few selections you could have. New races could be like straight up goblins and high elves, I think, are the ones. Ogres people point to. Once again, I just don't know the extent of changes they go. Like I said, the biggest one for me is Paladin and Shaman. I think that is a good question. And if we get new races, it would mainly be to put those on the other side. Or you even could take the Pandaren approach and make elves and goblins two neutral factions, and people could play either or. Elves bringing the paladins and goblins bringing the shamans. And, you know, something like the Pandaren approach I think would be really interesting to see in Classic. But once again, it just depends on the extent that they want to take this. Like, how much are Paladin and Shaman changing? How much are those things changing to warrant new races like that and things? So that's at least my opinion. New race / class combos, yes. Give us Undead Paladin, give us Dwarf Shaman. That is the alternative. But once again, only if we see significant changes to those classes. There is something to be said for the classic feel of them being exclusive and playable and enjoyable. And I don't want that to just be thrown away for the sake of, oh, both factions could play it, you know? I know people who legitimately play Alliance to be a Paladin. I know people who legitimately play Horde to be a Shaman. And this is the only time in WoW that is true. Then we have raid-wide buffs. I like TBC raiding. I think TBC is my personal, perfect for Classic. I would use it as the template to launch it. I think it does really unique things for the game, and it allows you to not have to bring people bring specific classes just to be buffs. Like Boomkin will be in a group with 4 mages and is literally there just to buff the mages, and that's something that I think is kind of toxic and sucks. And having gone all the way up through Wrath, through Kata, through Mop, I've had a much greater appreciation for it. TBC, like I said, TBC would be my base template. I really enjoy TBC. I think it really builds on a lot of Classic and takes away a lot of the nuances of Classic that makes you just sort of hate how everything goes. Remove racial traits. Abso-freaking-lutely not. Never, ever, ever do that. I think racial traits are one of the most iconic things about World of Warcraft, and it makes you have class identity and enjoy it. So yeah, and it makes Horde or Alliance better at XYZ things, but I think that's good in a game for sure. Then we have modernized diminishing returns TBC. Yes, like I said, TBC template for the game would be my preferred. I'm okay with that. I don't really PvP that often anymore, so it's not really something that I personally care too much about, but I really don't think they should. I think they should do the TBC one, because rogues can literally just perma kill you in Classic because they can perma stun you. Remove weapon skill. Absolutely not. I think weapon skill is one of the most iconic features in Classic. It sucks to go train it, but like everyone who's played a warrior knows that feeling of, oh, I gotta train it, I gotta maintain it, I gotta do it. Like it's something to build your character. Like it makes you, oh yeah, I went and did that, now I want this, I earned that, and I can use it well. It kind of sucks when you're leveling up because upgrades might not be too good of upgrades, but it's just something that's really iconic to Classic. Shaman tank, Horde, and Horde Paladin, Alliance Shaman. So I loved Shaman tank. I loved Warlock tank. Those two felt natural and felt awesome in SOD, and I would be for them putting them in there. If they do that, like I said on the other ones, I really only want I only want that if we're going all the way. So that's where we would get Horde Paladin, Alliance Shaman, because they're being changed so much from their original versions. But yeah, as far as Shaman tank goes, I liked Warlock tank as well. Rogue tank, I did not like. It was either full bis cranker or it was terrible, and that's mainly because I think it needs its own talent tree to actually do it. Shaman tank was kind of essentially in the game, same with Warlock tank. Mage healer is goofy and out there, but with the popularity of people playing mages and the unpopularity of healers, I think it's a fun little thing that could stay there. But that's just sort of breaking down all those classes that were added in SOD. Instant mail. I like instant mail. I think it's really good. It is an amazing quality of life. The only thing is, I wonder how it fares with the botting crisis, the RMT crisis. Does instant mail make it worse? It's a feature that was added into Anniversary, and a lot of people say Anniversary's economy is the worst it has ever been for a classic version of the game. I don't really play it, so I can't really speak on that. I just hear that phrase said a ton. So I wonder if something like instant mail is being abused for bots and illicit things to cause a lot of problems and cause a lot of inflation and cause a lot of issues. Because, having to wait an hour, 30 minutes, whatever it is, to send your mail is actually kind of important and something that you gotta, think about. Now, with instant mail, you can literally just mail your main anything you want from anywhere because you have your bank vault in the city. Barber, cat version, hair, and earring. Yeah, I think that'd be cool to change your hair and stuff, but not your full-on features. I don't have a problem with that, but once again, that is one of the things that people just sort of straight up remember from classic World of Warcraft, and they're like, wow, that's really cool, and, once you lock in, you're locked in. Balance at 20, I am so against this one. I think this is ridiculous. They should never, ever, ever, ever do this. I think one of the best memories I have every time I play Classic Fresh, whether it's Hardcore, Anniversary, SOM, SOD, Classic 2019, is getting your mount at 40 and having the gold to do it. I think that is fantastic. Remove combat add-ons. Oh, this is a debate that's raging in retail and so on, and I just don't know. Classic doesn't really need them. The fights are not hard. They're not really that crazy, but it does sort of raise the skill cap a ton. And you could essentially just have add-ons that almost play the game for you, where you're just pressing 2 buttons if your rotation is, requires pressing more than that. But I don't really care, honestly. The fight, you don't really need the Foji Weekora back, if you will, to do this like we need in MOP. So classic raids just aren't really that hard, so I don't really care where this falls either way. New zones, absolutely. Give us new zones. I am all for that. That is what, we could do Oldham, we could do Hyjal, we could do Quel'Tha Loss, we could do Grim Batol. There are just so many zones that were, honestly, pretty much anything in Cataclysm was something that could have been in Classic, and we could even dive into the Emerald Dream. Just so many things that we could possibly do. We could even look to certain amphibious servers to see what they do there as well. Flex rating. So in the sense of what we get at the end of MOP, I do not want that type of flex rating. I do not want it to scale to your people. I do not want it to be that way. I personally prefer SOD flex rating. I think that was the greatest system they have ever done. The players, community driven, actually were able to Mythic was a 20 hard lock server or instance, and people would raid with 20, and they were counted as Mythic raiders if they did the hard mode as 20 raiders. But it was unlocked to 40, so casual community guilds could bring 30 people, and it dropped a lot of loot for doing the hard mode, but you were dividing it among 30 people instead of 20. So it brings raiding for everything. It solves the power problem, and it allows people to raid with their groups, and you don't have to constantly battle the roster boss, which is something in Miss. Going from SOD to MOP, I have we just, it's so hard to get 25 people there every day, and then it's also hard to field an active bench. My solution would just bring 30, and then if more than 5 don't show up, we could pug that rare one person. But to me, I genuinely loved SOD flex rating. I think it is one of the best systems they've ever done. Heroic dungeons, No, I don't want those. If anything, I would want a sort of challenge mode dungeon for cosmetic things. I think that provides a unique thing for people to go and do. But once again, that all hinders on having transmog, like something optional for cosmetic or looking cool, or like even economic rewards. Like maybe it drops an herb bag or something for completing it. That would be something I'd like. But I don't want the different scales of power, because like it just breaks the community and people try to optimize the fun out of it and take away a lot. So if they did it, I would want a more like challenge mode type thing opposed to a purely powerful reward. AoE looting, that is a really nice quality of life, I will say. It makes it so much easier. However, I just think that with all the mage boosting, all the mage botting, all the mage stuff and shenanigans that happen, I think it would be really bad for people to do it. It's an amazing quality of life feature, but I think it would be abused way too much in Classic, especially when you have, like, it would cut down the farming times by so much for mages farming like SM or stuff like that, that I would want to see serious changes to boosting and that type of stuff. If they did put it in there. But once again, that just takes so many changes. The goal shouldn't be to change Classic in every way. The goal should be improve upon it, but maintain its original identity. Removing logging capabilities, no. Logging, while parsing culture can get very toxic, logging and being able to see where people messed up and what went wrong is so important for anyone who's ever been in leadership for any guilds or raids. Like, you understand this because you go to logs. It's important to do that. People like to have personal performance reviews to better themselves. Logging is essential to that. And while parsing gets a little toxic, I definitely think the goods outweigh the bad with that. Proximity voice chat. That would be so freaking toxic. I'm not even, just no. It would it would be so bad for WoW. And like if you're in Orgrimmar and you have like 300, 400, 500 thousands of people there all trying to talk, it'd be too much. I don't think it would work really well. Now, something like a raid or dungeon group chat built in, maybe, but I think everyone just uses Discord at this point, so it doesn't really like matter much. More spirit healers. Anything like I said, I like TBC as the base blueprint for this. I think they did a good job. They optimized it. They removed a few other things. Saw it even added some more spirit healers as well, which helped a lot for a few places. I think that would be good. Like the Blackrock Mountain one is probably a really good spirit healer that they should absolutely add, instead of everyone going to Thorium Point and having to run back. But I will say, when MC releases or BWL releases, I think it's one of the coolest things to see the ghost walk of everybody running back into BRM, especially when there's some world PvP happening. It's really cool. Heroism and Bloodlust. I don't know. I think with world buffs, I think that would be too much damage, honestly. It's kind of insane amounts of DPS, and I think that should just stay out unless we have like significantly challenging raids where lust is needed, that damage burst phase is needed. I just don't think it should be there. Level cap increase? No, let's keep it 60. The whole point of Classic Plus is to expand on the Classic world. Maybe at some point if there's a full-on expansion, but then again, like if we just go on a different route of different expansions, it doesn't really, like, that's not Classic Plus anymore, so I think that should stay out. Mythic Plus? Absolutely not. No place for it. Like I said, same with Heroics. I don't want that. That's retail to me. That is a never-ending hamster wheel of infinitely increasing power that we want to avoid. There's something to be said for being able to play the game pretty easily, going to get your BIS, your pre-BIS, whatever, and increasing your character's power level outside of that. And Mythic Plus, just, there's always that, oh, you can get it but better, you could get it but better, you could get it but better, and that's just a weird chase grind that doesn't belong in Classic. Additional BGs. Yep, if we're adding new raids, new zones, new anything, the Azara Battleground would be awesome. I think they should absolutely add that. I want new ones, though. I want to be clear. I want new ones, not just copying the ones that would get added later and putting them in. We want to see new BGs, not original ones. Then mob/quest scaling, no, absolutely not. That is very retail. That is very gross. There's something about being able to do all that and beat everyone. Then we have remove heartbeats. Absolutely not. I think that is something that is really good for the game, and once again, something inherently very classic. Shorter mount time. I don't know. I do like TBC as a base, and making it, I think it goes to 0.5 seconds instead of 1.5 seconds. I think I like it, but like once again, it is classic WoW. Some of these things are inherent to World of Warcraft, and like if we change it too much, we're just gonna get to retail, right? And that's something that I think we should avoid heading to. So the next one we have is personal loot. I do not want personal loot. While it would solve some of the problems like ninjing and a bunch of other things, it's just not classic. It really isn't. Like I said, I'd prefer sort of like hard modes with more loot dropping if you earn it, and people being able to do that I think would be awesome. Linkable professions. Yes, please that. So instead of just a block of text saying you have every enchant in the game, you can just link it and the person can look at their mats and do that. As someone who crafts and gets all the professions and has just spammed trade chat numerous times to help people get their shit made, it really should be in there. Increase quest cap to 30. I see no problem with this. The only possible problem that you could have is pre-questing to go into a next phase or a next expansion is really the only one where people get 30 quests ready to go. We saw it a ton in SOD. We'll see it going to TPC, so people can instantly get level 61 or 62. But yeah, there are points and zones and areas where you get more than 20 quests at a time, and you have to pick and choose. I think everyone has hit that point at some point in their character's life, and so just upping it to even 25 I think would be good enough, but 30 is fine too. Extended character stats, yes. Most people already just generally use an add-on for this, so that's just putting that baseline in the game for people to see it, for knowing your hit, for knowing your things that you need to do. I really like that a lot. HD graphic toggle. I would want that as long as it's a toggle. You know, people can choose the art style they want and it doesn't impact the game. I see no problem with people being able to toggle things on and off for how they want the game to look. Some people legitimately enjoy the HD graphics of the newer models added, and we'll let them have that. You know, there's no harm in it. Doesn't affect how you play or how you see the game. You can be on your classic one and they can be on the HD one, and I think Mop and Cat have done a great job of that. Shared mobs for tags for questing. I think no, because I think it allows you to interact with players and it forms bonds. Like, hey man, invite me, let's get this tag done. I think it is something that a lot of people do just naturally, and I think it encourages socialization, encourages people talking to people. I've met some good friends that even raid with me now just because I was doing a quest with them in SOD, and like maybe I died, maybe they died, we grouped up and then we defeated it. I think that's something that is awesome, and it forces you to play with other players and socialize. Toggle on and off for XP. Yeah, I think a lot of people do twinks, so instead of having to worry about it, they could just get their full twink set and get it. I see no problem if anyone wants to turn off their XP for any reason at all. I don't really see it too big of an issue. The only issue I could see is it would be boosting. Like, people would keep their mage at like 50 to boost SM or something ridiculous, or ZF. So the boosty gets more XP. So if we tackled that, I'd be fine with it, but that's the only negative aspect of it. Shared mob drops for questing. I really would like this. Sometimes, like if you're doing an elite quest or you're doing a one-off quest, it already does this. But getting like a gather item, some of those gather item quests have like a 1 to like 5% drop rate, and if you're questing with a friend, it just makes it really toxic. If like, oh, I got this, and then they got it, it just sucks. Focus targeting. I thought, I guess that isn't in there, huh? But yeah, I don't see a problem either way. I don't really care too much. I think it helps people raid better, but it really isn't that big of a deal either way. Remove the 1% miss when hit kept. I think that is something that should just be in Classic forever. It's been there. We like it. It's done well. No reason to ever get rid of that. I think it is just something that's funny and interesting. And a 99 parse could, like, you could get a 100 parse because you didn't miss, or you could get your 99 parse turned into like a 90 because you missed twice or something. It's just something that can happen, and it sucks when it happens to the tank on the first cast, but I've seen that happen maybe like twice ever. So it is what it is, but I think it's something that's just iconic and funny at this point. Nameplate range to 40 versus 20. I really like this. It is very, very helpful, especially from a tank POV. Just being able to see health bars and things from 40 yards instead of 20 is really, really freaking nice. I've been spoiled with MOP here and seeing things so far away that I really am for this. I think it's just a general quality of life that really helps people a ton. Jewel crafting with rings and amulets. That is tough, because if we go down the new profession route, do we add glyphs? Do we add inscription? Do we add all that? But jewel crafting to just make rings and amulets, I do think, and even trinkets, I am not completely opposed to it. It makes mining way more valuable as well. It allows people to sort of do that, especially if you go the prospecting route to get the gemstones instead of just mining them out. The gem's already there, so I would have to see how they implement this to say yes or no on it, but I'm not entirely opposed to it, as long as it isn't just spammed almost pre-bis rings, amulets, and trinkets for people, because some of those quests are really awesome. Like for Horde, going to get the Captain's Guard mark in Hinterlands, that's a really good one that I think every Horde player, every Orc warrior knows. They go out and do that. Horizontal gear progression. So horizontal is really hard to pull off in WoW. I like that there are options, and if they do add new raids, regardless of where those raids fall, so like if, say, we get MCBWL and then instead of ZGAQ we drop a new raid, like we go to Oldham or something, I would like those pieces to go up. Like, example, Onslaught Girdle goes from MC all the way to Naxxramas when you replace it with Girdle of the Mentor. That is something that is really awesome for Classic. It creates worth and creates value, and it gives people reasons to go back to the old raids, which is really nice. It gives people incentives to do it and want to do it. So having a few of those pieces dripped in throughout the other raids, I think would be awesome and really good for the game. However, a pure horizontal progression, I think it's like almost a core MMO feature, and you decide whether you want to go vertical and horizontal. For me, if I'm into horizontal gameplay and I want to play it, I'll go play RuneScape. I just don't see it really working in WoW with the player base and how WoW's been for 20 years. It'd be such a drastic change. So I'm fine with some horizontal gear drops and being available, but it's just not WoW to me. Enchanting vellums, so that requires inscription, which it would be nice, but I don't it takes away the interaction. It takes away the you being an enchanter, like having to sit there, spam people, and do things and make enchants for them. So it just takes away a lot of the community interaction. Like, people, you literally become people's enchanters. I'll get DMs on Discord to log in and enchant their gear. I had all the enchants in 2019, and people would always come to me and get them all done on my server. So it was like, I have a few interactions with people that I'm still talking to this day because I was their enchanter in Classic WoW. Glyphs, no, just no. Glyphs are just we already know what's bis glyph, and we just go with pre-bis setup. You occasionally change one or two maybe during certain things, but that's pretty much it. Keep combos on target, swap rogue and druid. This is an insanely good quality of life change. For PvE, absolutely, but for PvP, I don't know how I don't know if rogues and I don't know how toxic that would make things and what they could do with it. So I'm a bit hesitant to say absolutely yes, but having redirects in SOD was really fun on the rogue, so I did enjoy that at the very least. So I'd like to see what all you can do with that first before saying hard yes for PvP. Then we have dungeon raid maps added. Yes, please. It would help. It would stop people from getting so confused. They already exist. People use them all the time. I at least find myself using them in MOP, just looking at things, knowing where to go, etc. I think it is just something. It helps new players more than anything. Instead of having just this grueling thing where they have to just go look it up or have to rely on someone else, they can just press M and it's in the game. And we already have them all made, so it's not like it's that hard. I definitely like that a lot. PvP trinket 2-minute. No, I like the trinkets are unique and classic, and they make like it adds that class identity, which I think is really important. So I would definitely keep it there. Offhand hit chance rework. I don't think they should touch hits or core functioning of classic in any way like that. The only thing that they should do is definitely like maybe add more pieces of gear that have hit that make it easier to get hit capped and stuff like that. But that's about it. I don't think they should. Collections tab. Like I said, my idea for collections tab is just have it account wide. It's your Battle.net account tab, and you can, whether regardless of if we have transmog or something, I think it should be in the game. So if you collect things, whether or not you can use them in classic, you can collect things for retail, you can collect things for MOP, you can collect things for other versions of the game, because it will encourage a lot more people to play other versions of World of Warcraft. You know, as a classic player, I might play retail because I can ride a really cool, unique a Black Scarab mount, you know, something like that. Is really, really important, and I think it allows people to be WoW players, not, oh, I'm a retail player, I'm a MOP player, I'm a classic player, I'm this type of WoW player. We could all just be WoW players again, and people would have incentives to play other versions of the game. Like, it would be really cool if you kill Onyxia, for example, and you can now put Onyxia in your player house. Like, there's just a lot of cross game compatibilities that they could utilize, and I think they're missing out really big. War mode instead of PvP servers. While this is unpopular here, I am absolutely for this. It puts everyone on one server. You could have one mega server with war mode and everyone could play. You can incentivize war mode. You can have like PvP hot clusters. You can have a lot of locations that people can go in PvP and do things, and I am for this for a multitude of reasons, but it allows everyone to play together, and I think that is the most important thing. PvP, the state of PvP is just griefing and ganking now. No one actually has like that 1v1 in STV. World PvP is how many friends can I get to just ruin your day, and it is, I think that it would be really good to have one mega server with war mode with PvP. Like, if you have war mode on, it should be one layer though. I will say that. Like, war mode is essentially just a one layer PvP server, so people can PvP. You can make hotspots where resources are doubled. You can incentivize people to go there and do it and still feel like classic, and encourages a lot of world PvP, and people would actually go out there and do it. So that's just my thoughts on how it would be and how it could function. I've played a PvP server since 2019. I've just seen all the toxicity and all the griefing, and I've seen people legitimately just quit the game because of how many times they got killed. Hearthstone cooldown 30 minutes. No, keep it 60, but keep ghetto hearthing, and I think you're fine. I think the art of ghetto hearthing is a fun, unique way to navigate the game, and people use it really, really well. Leveling challenges. I'm not entirely sure what it means by that. I think it means like the zone quest things that appear when you're fighting things, which I'd be for, but it's just kind of like an extra quest, if you will. Built-in Questy, I think that would be okay. I mean, everyone uses Questy. I don't know anyone that doesn't use it to do it, unless you're doing a challenge that you turn off Questy, which I did because I'm crazy like that. But at this point, just give us the quest log that I think gets added in Wrath. I think that is perfectly fine. Remove rank 14 gear being BIS in PvE. I don't like that. I think it should have some crossplay. People that get really good PvP gear should be able to do PvE. I think that is something iconic. Like, some people are literally PvEing to get something for PvP. People are PvPing to get something for PvE. And I think that crossplay is good. It allows people to do both things in the game. It is called World of Warcraft. You're supposed to fight other people, not World of defeat evil monster that's trying to destroy the world. So I think having that is good. Now, having pure BIS in either way for the other thing, I don't think is that good. but I like that there is some crossing of that. Like if you are crazy enough to do rank 14, you were rank 14 before AQ dropped, so you were going into AQ with really good AQ gear that you don't replace until max. I think that's the biggest example, and you should be rewarded for doing a rank 14 grind, because that is insanity, actual insanity, how much you have to do for that in 2019 at least. More quests in existing zones. I'm okay with them expanding those. I don't see a problem with more quests being added to existing zones. Like I said, more content, always great. Reworked itemization for existing items. We gotta be careful with that because, well, yes, they know exactly what to add to make things BIS. We don't want things to become too valuable, and we don't want to devalue the things that are already awesome. Of course, we could homogenize everything and like be like, oh yeah, everything has one hit, one crit, there you go. But having those unique items, being like, oh, I need to go kill the last boss of Stratholme to get this, and then, you know, some mage needs the first boss there, you know, someone, it just adds a lot to it and gives people reasons to go and do things, and I don't want to destroy that. Entire new specs. The only new specs I would want is if we get like Shaman Tank, Demonology Warlock, like those things where they're doing their new roles. I'd be okay with them having new talent trees, but I wouldn't really want to add the other ones. Druid splitting cat and bear wouldn't be too terrible either, but I wouldn't want like 100% original new specs to classes. I don't think that'd be really that good. I would want like survival could be melee hunters, stuff like that, like little tweaks that make it fun. More class-specific quests added. Like I said, I love this in SOD doing BRD and getting, or sorry, doing Blackrock and getting all of the unique weapons in Blackwing Lair. All of that was really, really cool. So I hope they add that and add more things for people to do it. I think it is really fun. Modern AH, yeah, they added it, I think, late Wrath or Kata, and I have no problem with it. It works really well. It stops a lot of the shenanigans and scamming that people do with the OG one, so I'm all for it. Or people just use Auction House add-ons anyway to change it themselves, so if the majority of people do that, I have no problem. Solo challenges like Mage Tower, I'm not opposed to this. I think it'd be cool for people to just have something to do, have something to go and get, have something for people to go and play the game and do it just to look cooler. As long as it's cosmetic and not player power tied, I'm all for that stuff. Account-wide attunements, I don't know. I've gone back and forth. I liked it a lot on SOD. It made it easier, but also after like 3 weeks, no one was doing tests of skulls, so I'm on the fence about this. I just don't know. I like it because it benefits me a lot when I'm playing multiple characters, and I enjoy it because I don't have to do it, but I also think it does a lot of harm to the game and makes it harder for the people doing it the first time around to get groups to go and do it. Challenges, events around the world. I think we have that with world bosses, but they could add more world bosses, more sort of rare things that spawn that you have to kill. I would be for, but I don't want to see like world quests. That would be really, really bad. Dual area with a CD reset button. I'm for this because literally Orgrimmar has a giant, enormous arena that is only used for the Brawlers Guild. So something like that, or a neutral island, just somewhere for PvPers to go to PvP and duel each other. Even let them talk to the opposing faction. Let people know Common and Orcish while they're there. I think that'd be cool. I don't see a problem with people being able to, like, PvP players being able to PvP. It would allow really cool content things like dueling tournaments, stuff like that to be added, and just awesome. Integrate professions further into raiding. So, I mean, professions already are pretty good into raiding. I don't know how much more they want. Like, you have to, like, use a profession to unlock a boss, like, similar to, I guess, Quarter Stars, stuff like that. I don't know. That kind of feels retailing a little further. But, you know, people use consumes and stuff. Get all your consumables. You gotta mine the iron that is in there. I guess there's no herbing, but stuff like that I'm cool with. I really enjoy. Then Mage Table and Warlock Solo. Yes, please. It makes Healthstone so much more valuable. It doesn't make the Warlock want to be sad. Same with mages. Like, I used to log in an hour before and make everybody's water and get it all good and trade people water while I'm making the group. So being able to just drop a table, I think, is a really nice quality of life thing, similar to the buffs. But anyway, guys, that is the entire freaking list. This is an absolutely insanely long video, so I would genuinely love to hear you guys' opinions, thoughts, everything on it. I think this is, once again, super important to sit here and talk about and really hear everything that you know, the community wants, why they want it, and, you know, use this as a comment section, whether you agree with me, disagree with me. Just talk about the topics that you love and enjoy. I think it'll be very, very important to have that in here, and, you know, just put it out there for people to discuss. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, I'll see you later. Hope you have a great day. Bye-bye. Hey, you. Yes, you. Are you still there? Well, I appreciate you for taking the time to watch this entire video and making it to the end here. If you enjoyed this video, definitely check out the other videos about World of Warcraft listed in these playlists down below. And thank you again. Have a great day. Bye-bye.